Well, good evening. Good evening. Happy Saturday. Look forward to you all worshiping with us live on tomorrow. Of course, I'm the pastor here at the St. Luke Church, the Reverend Gregory Hudson. And of course, we have not met physically in the building as a whole family since March 15th. In fact, 3 months ago, I never thought that we would be out and away from each other this long. However, as much as I miss your physical presence, I still can tell that you all are committed to the St. Luke Church and its ministry. And I am more than grateful to you for that. And I am asking that you continue to pray and that you continue to support our church. I am very proud to be your pastor and very proud to be the leader of such a fine congregation. You all have done tremendously well in handling this very, very difficult circumstance, and I am very grateful for each of you. Let me just share with you a few things before we get ready to go into our lesson. Before we get ready to go into, of course, our Sunday school lesson and other things that we may talk about. First, I just definitely need to say to all of the fathers, Happy Father's Day. One of the great privileges and honors of my life is being the father of Zoe, Zaria, and yes, even Maya, Maya, who is just a great child, and all of them are very, very great children. So one of my greatest accomplishments I consider to be the fact that I am those children, Zoe, Zaria, and Maya's father. So, and I know that there are many of you who feel the very same way, and those of us who have been influenced by having outstanding fathers. Just want to say Happy Father's Day. Now, of course, tomorrow, worship services will be live on Facebook. Let's make sure that we tune in. And of course, on YouTube Live with these channels. I need you all to start tonight or early in the morning, send some people our way to watch with us. We have a very, very excellent worship service planned and scheduled for tomorrow. So make sure that you're a part of that. And of course, I love the way we chat and connect with each other. Thank you so very much for that. Of course, I mentioned on this past Sunday that I wanted us to continue our giving and have public offering Sunday. I will mention that again, and hopefully we will start to send our offerings via any of these efforts and any of these ways that we have already shared. I'm appreciative for those of you who have given, and at the same time, I want to be encouraging to those of you who have not. And I want to make sure that you understand and know that we will be back in this building worshiping together. But even though we are out of the building physically, and we will soon hope to be sharing together physically in the very near future. However, of course, as we see how science, we are people of faith, but we also have to respect science as well. So please make sure that your contributions are mailed, sent, brought by the church, however you choose to do it. Thank you for that. June birthdays, I gave you these, I believe, last week, the last couple of weeks. Tim Emery, Damon Gladney, Faye Hall, Maya, LaShonda. This week I added my niece who lives in Houston, my sister's daughter, LaShonda. God bless you there, LaShonda, and your birthday, and everybody who's having a birthday in the month of June as well. Let's go ahead and just go briefly today into our Sunday school lesson. And I know that some of you are looking at other materials. I appreciate that, and thank you so much. But I'm just convinced that we cannot get too much of these lessons. God bless your hearts. Wisdom, of course, is the theme. We've given the background on Solomon and on the book of Proverbs, and I believe this week we're in Proverbs chapter 8. Wisdom is of the highest value. It is worth more than silver. It brings more profit than gold. The word says, what profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And so wisdom keeps us allows us to understand what is important and what is not important in life. Let's look at what the scripture says. Again, let's see with this. What are you asking God for in this season? What are you asking God for in this season as a person. And our lives are so compartmentalized, meaning that there are so many aspects of our lives. One of the things that I'm asking God for is even in every compartment of my life, as a pastor, as a teacher, as a father, as a leader, and even as a student. Many of you know that I am in the process of writing a dissertation to earn a doctorate degree, and it has not been easy. It has not been. It has not by any means been something that has been very simple. It's been a somewhat of a difficult task. However, I keep asking God for wisdom to allow me to plod away and write few pages every day and find time to do the research while uh, looking for things, not looking for things, but trying to find ways to keep our congregation going, even in times like this. So I have to go to God to, hey, God, I need you to help me with the wisdom of time management and also to maintain my sanity, to maintain my health. So one of the things we want to do is make sure that we're asking God for wisdom in this season for every aspect of your life. And that's one of the things that we definitely want to look at. And all of us have different roles. And for every role that you have in your life, you want God to get to lead you, not just as in one aspect, but we need God to lead us in every single aspect of our lives. So now, what does Proverbs 8 say? You looked at the passage. I know those of you who are Sunday school students, make sure that you go to, those of you who are not, you go look at Proverbs chapter 8. And in Proverbs chapter 8, beginning at verse 8 and down through verse 14, all the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There's nothing bad or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. Look at number 10. Look at verse 10. Receive God's instruction from wisdom and not money, not that which is precious and priceless, because wisdom and knowledge are more priceless than anything that is temporal and anything that is of some type of, we may consider, unearthly value, and better than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, precious gems, diamonds, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. In other words, the things that we ask God for, the new car. I saw this car, the Mercedes S560, and it's well beyond what I can afford. But I actually saw one and walked around it and looked at it and knew that I was wise enough to know that I could not afford this car and still be able to live and eat, if you would. So sometimes wisdom, that those things that we desire, it takes wisdom to show us that maybe it's not for you. Not that we shouldn't aspire or dream for things, but God also gives us wisdom to know that which fits within our means. But wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not even to be compared to it. Wisdom will dwell with prudence and find out knowledge of witty inventions, new things. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the bad, negative mouth. Wisdom hates. You know what? I don't like to inject things that are political very much, although even with my background as a political analyst, one of the things in this age, in this season in which we live, I wish we had some form of wisdom. All politicians are not bad. All politicians are not liars. All politicians are not greedy and avaricious, if you would. But we see now pride, we see arrogancy, and we see evil, and we see the foul nature of the mouth of the leader of this country. And I just pray, as Reverend Dr. Barber, who talks about how there has to be a pity for someone who has to wake up simply to be mean. And I pray to God that things change and things do turn around, because that has to be or it has to be eating away at the person who has to hate. Counsel is mine, sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. Wisdom is speaking almost in a personification type, personified manner. Wisdom is speaking and says, if you want counsel, listen to me. And if you listen to me, if you want understanding, listen to me. And if you want to have strength, listen to me. Yes. Proverbs 8, now verse 17 through 21. I love them that love me, wisdom, and those that seek me early shall find me. Wisdom is speaking. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches, lasting riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of justice, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. Many times as a pastor, as a leader, and I've not always, even as a teacher and as a citizen, as a father, not always made perfect decisions, but conscience allows us to go back and look at decisions that we've made and realize maybe we could have done this better. And that's the good thing about wisdom. Wisdom also allows us to learn from our mistakes and allows us to learn from that which may not have turned out as correctly as we would have liked for it to. And so consequently, we have to learn to rely on wisdom. Wisdom allows us to understand the laws and principles of life and enables us to harmonize our lives with reality. Instead of running headlong into it, you can prosper in your relationship with wisdom. Ultimately, wisdom is a protector. A prudent man, listen to this, a wise man, Proverbs 27 and 12, a wise person sees evil and hides from it. The naive, the foolish, proceed and pay the penalty. Yes, wisdom says, I see evil, I'm going to get away from it. The naive says, wait a minute, I see this situation, but I'm going to hide. I'm going to go headlong against it. I think we're seeing that with even in this pandemic. We see science telling us, we see science sharing us with us the realities of the age and era in which we live and the necessary safety precautions that we ought to. But what do? We still see people who decide, I'm going to defy wisdom. I'm going to defy science because I think it's a hoax. Well, and what do we find out? And what do we see? That people who don't take the necessary precautions and those who do can still find themselves ill. So we must not proceed in life naively because there are consequences to be paid. Prudent people look as far down the road as possible when they make decisions, every decision. After all, one of the things I think we all can be guilty of, and let's let everybody raise our hand, and everybody here has made a rash, sudden decision that you wish you hadn't made. Because those who make decisions in wisdom understand that today and tomorrow are connected. Meaning what I do today is going to affect my life tomorrow. As the author of Proverbs says, they stay on the lookout for signs of trouble up ahead. I'm very cautious with my children, and I think I can see things further up the road than they do. Our foreparents and our parents and grandparents told us that. They said, I see something that's going to happen to you. And we never wanted to listen because we thought we knew better, because we were basing it on knowledge and here were people who were sharing with us their wisdom. How many of us can say, Lord, I wish I would have listened when somebody who was wise told me? Today's decisions are informed and influenced, ought to be, by their impact on tomorrow. Well, let's see, how are we going to find wisdom, steps for wisdom? Seek to know yourself. That's the first one. I'll give you 6 here. Go back and look at this and read it. Seek to know yourself. Find out who you are. Get in touch with yourself. Am I acting wisely? Learn new things. During this pandemic, what do we learn? What are we sharing? What are we learning? One of the things that the pandemic I've not been able to go to the library, which was part of my routine. On Saturdays was library, Sunday after church at the library until it closed. Then I found out that the library at LSUS stayed open until midnight, and I would be there and then have to get up and go to work the next morning because I was doing school work and preparing. So one of the things that during this time frame, I knew that I wanted to put together as much as I could a decent product for you all to watch us on Sunday mornings. So I delved into learning more about technology, learning how to do lighting and sound and audio visual equipment, which is a step toward wisdom. Challenge the way you think. Challenge the way that you currently think to lead you into a better place. Sometimes we get stuck into thinking certain ways and we don't challenge, perhaps, and our thoughts sometimes have to be challenged in order for us to get better. And then fourth goes with the third one. Think in new ways. There are always new ways, especially in the church and in lives. One of the things that I participated in a webinar the other day that was held by one of the leading church consultants in the world, actually, Dr. Thom Rainer. And Dr. Thom Rainer talks about how the church has to think in new ways. It's wise for the church to think in different ways because in generations past, culture has always been on the side of the church. And now culture is against the side of the church. What does that mean? People always just wanted to go to church because it was a way of respectability. But now that people don't feel that they need the church to find respectability, it's harder to get people and attract people to church. So the church then has to learn to be more creative and find new ways. And COVID-19 has taught us that. And then number 5, accept that all of life's mistakes are not always fatal. Some of them, yes, maybe. Sometimes we look back at life and see the mistakes that you made, but you realize that, yes, they may have been detrimental, but they weren't always fatal. And then this may be the most important one of all. Surround yourself with wise people. Surround yourself with people who are doing wise, positive things. And sometimes you can look at the way other people live their lives, and then there ought to be the lesson that we learn from that here's a person that doesn't care about themselves. What makes me think they're going to care about my future? I just think that we ought to look at that. But wisdom is defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth light to all of them that have it. It gives life to everybody that has it. One translation said it preserves life. Wisdom is what's going to keep you. It's what's going to save you. Difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. Some of the most difficult decisions you made out of wisdom eventually led you to a better and a more beautiful and more honorable place. Hey, tomorrow is Father's Day. I'm going to preach a message from the prodigal son in Luke 15, and I'm going to talk about having a father who cares. We have a father who cares. We're going to preach it tomorrow. I want you to listen. I want you to tune in. I want you to share. Do me a favor, share this lesson and with your friends and with your family members so that they too will be able to keep up with God's word. But most of all, I want you to make sure that tomorrow when you tune in, that you invite some of your friends to participate with us so that they will hear a word about a God, a Father who cares. God bless you, and I will look forward to seeing you all, and I want you to know that I miss your presence, but I'm constantly praying for each of you. God bless you, and take care.